Just wait. Because you don't know what that is.
No strength.
Neither do I. I'm going to sleep for an hour after you show. Make sure you wake me at around 10.
Make sure I wake you.
Yeah, you're way out now.
We shall see.
On your way out, just tap me. It's very unnecessary not to tap me. You're passing by already.
We shall see.
Rather. Press play, Jerry.
This is Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Your love music, love live station. 16 minutes past 8 a.m. on a beautiful money making Monday morning. It's that time to get into the world of sports. We're jumping into the locker room, people. Ayokunmi right here. And you know I don't do this alone, of course. The one and only, absolutely gorgeous, sprightly, and of course, bright and ready to go. Tega Supreme in the building.
You will make heaven in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Now, let me just start judging because that's how I am. On Friday, I said, pray that your team is not fodder for banter. Ayo immediately said, Manchester United won.
I climb mountain top.
Arsenal fans, they probably didn't pray because those ones, they don't do anything in time. But by the time they collected red card, somebody must have started kabashing. They won. The people that I don't even know how to discuss their matter. Your team cannot play. You cannot pray. How can we help you now?
Play. Pray.
Do you understand? How can we help you? That's how everywhere Manchester City were going. They were doing good, dropping 3 points. Even Brentford, that small team from London, collected 2 points.
I mean,
from them. You now reach your turn to show you that it is real village people and it's prayer that you needed. It now reach your turn. They now scored goals that they did not even know how to score before. They now scored goals. Next time I say you should pray, you know what to do. Okay? It's time for tithes and offering. But before we take tithes and offering, Ayokunmi, tell me, how can we be a part of the locker room this morning?
All right, you can join us on the locker room. We're preaching today, people. You can send your messages to us on WhatsApp on 0809 440 981. 0809 444 0981. The studio line is 0201 4489 981. Also, join us on YouTube. We're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. That's right. You can see Tega and I in the studio and all the shenanigans that we get up to. LK, I see you. There is no mercy.
There is no mercy.
No mercy this morning. We're coming
pray,
to you.
You cannot pray.
We're coming to you. Just chill. We're coming to you.
All right.
Let's begin in Australia, where the Australian Open has come and gone. And underdog Madison Keys upsets Arena Sabalenka 6-3, 2-6, 7-5 in the Australian Open final on Saturday to win her first Grand Slam crown at the age of 29.
Yeah, look, it's not too late. That's the storyline. I've never seen somebody who won a title and it went well across the locker room. Like everybody looked at and said, okay, give her something, because she was in the game before the likes of Arena Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek and Naomi Osaka came in, and those ones have gone on to win multiple Grand Slams. What she no win. Even her best friend Sloane Stephens, who people know that Sloane Stephens' nickname is I can't keep myself. Even Sloane Stephens has won Grand Slam. She beat Madison Keys, hardworking, committed, dedicated, and all, to win her own first Grand Slam. Madison Keys hasn't won. So when she took this path, and this was one of the most tedious parts.
Indeed.
To winning a slam, because the people that she beat, stubborn people.
She has to beat world number one and number two.
Yes,
right?
world number one and number two. She beat number two, semi-finals. She beat number one in the finals. Hard hitters, stubborn player. Daniel Collins, Elena Rybakina, Grand Slam champion. I'm not talking of, she not beat small people to get here. Then she now went and met Iga Swiatek. She now beat Iga Swiatek. Then she now went to Sabalenka. Because when you beat Rybakina, you have already put everybody on notice. You now beat Swiatek. That means the last person on notice is going to come at you with everything. Even with that notice that she gave Sabalenka, she still beat
Mm.
Sabalenka on top. It was fantastic. She changed a lot of things. First of all, her serves are her biggest weapons, her biggest weapon, but it was not a smooth move. So when her husband used to play tennis, in case all of you didn't know, Fratangelo used to be a tennis player till 2023.
Oh,
Yeah, he used to be on tour, and so they've been dating for like 7 years. It's not a new relationship. Everybody on tour, even the people that were not on tour like me, we knew they were dating. So he stopped playing and he started became her coach. He was the one that suggested the number one racket change,
okay.
and then number two the smooth transition of the serve. So if anything else, marriage has worked for her. So
Marry properly. Oh.
marry well, not the one that they'll be divorced on social media. But that's not the issue today.
Moving on.
Moving on, that's not the issue today. The issue today is that she changed her racket, she changed her serve. Her all-round game became better because she had good cut movement before, but she started anticipating a lot better. I think a lot more research went into her game, so she knew exactly how to move. Her movement, for me, people are talking about her serves, people are talking about her ground strokes and her big hitting, but for me, her movement has also improved fantastically. And I think that for me is what helped her, especially against Iga Swiatek and then on Saturday against Sabalenka. But yes, brilliant move all around. Played a brilliant first set, struggled a little bit in second set, but it was the mind shifts to come back in the third,
Right.
dedicated, and then for some games she just looked at it and be like, let's Sabalenka take it. But when it came to that final game when she was serving first, when she was leading 6-5, she now put scoreboard pressure on Sabalenka. That's when she was able to break and win a slam. So congratulations to her. Amazing feat. She's now in the top 10. She now has her first Grand Slam. As it is now, she can just retire.
Mm. I mean, she has something in the
Do you
bag.
understand?
And I'll say this is never too late to
It's never too
29,
late.
never too late. You can do it.
Just keep at it.
All right, let's head over to the men's side of things, where Alexander Zverev was heckled by a spectator over domestic abuse allegations during the Australian Open men's single trophy ceremony. I mean, he lost to world number one Yannick Sinner in that final.
One of the most boring finals I've seen in my life.
Wow.
Oh, it was the worst. Neither men have presence.
They don't have the it factor.
Yeah, so it's the thing people talk about Yannick Sinner. I'm looking at Yannick Sinner's tennis. It's one of the most effective tennis on tour, but it reminds me of Djokovic.
I was going to ask you that question.
Yes, it reminds me of Djokovic's tennis. It's bland. It's robotic. It's not the tennis that stuns. You enjoy them when they play against interesting opponents, as opposed to just coming. Let me give you an example. I can watch Roger Federer, Pete Sampras play tennis against the wall. I will sit down and watch. I will pay money to watch it. That's how exciting those players are. It's seductive, it's luring.
Mm.
It just is different. There's magic. When you watch Yannick Sinner, and it's like using AI to write letter.
So, I mean, like I said, you play tennis, I play, do what I need to do to win.
Yeah, that's it. They just win points. They do the basics well and they move on with their lives. And it's great for them as tennis players because their job is to win. But it's not great for the sport because your job is to entertain. So both men in the finals, no personality. That's the first one. The second one is that both men have different drama going on. Remember Yannick Sinner with his two failed tests.
The cloud still there.
The cloud is still there because he still has a case to answer. Yeah, as opposed to Iga Swiatek, who was completely cleared. His own case, they've appealed it again. Okay. And the hearing will be, I think, in April. So there's still that cloud over his head. And then Yannick Sinner, then Zverev has the domestic violence from two different women where he had to even settle out of court. So private life wise, they both have questions. On court, no presence. And then the tennis, it was horrible. Flatly, it was one-sided. Even when Sasha Zverev was competing, you always realize at the end of the day that Yannick Sinner is just going to win this thing. And to win it in straight sets made it even worse. So bland tennis, boring final. But congratulations to Yannick Sinner. back-to-back championships with Australia, uh, cementing his position as world number one. I may not enjoy his tennis, but if I were a betting woman, I would bet Yannick Sinner every day of the week.
Mm.
He's most likely going to win because he has the focus, he has the effective tennis. Alcaraz, I would watch every day, but I cannot bet my salary because
You will
he's
drink Gary.
he's a bit erratic. And that's the difference. Yannick Sinner has found the emotional maturity and the presence of mind on court. Alcaraz is still finding it, and so it just makes it a little different. But yeah, the men's final was very boring, very boring.
All right, let's leave the Australian Open and head into the world of football. Let's talk about what's been going on in La Liga, where Barcelona snapped their four-match winless streak in La Liga with an emphatic 7-1 victory over Valencia on Sunday, with Fermin Lopez scoring an impressive double and adding 2 assists as well.
I'm telling you, by the first half, when I saw the Valencia player coming out for the second half, I said, "You are brave.
I mean,
You are brave. How do you go in? Was it 5-0 at halftime? Yes. How do you go in 5-0 at halftime and come out?
they were being
They
professional.
should be able to throw in a towel in football. I've come to the conclusion. Football and tennis. Like if somebody is beating you 6-love, 6-1, you should be able to throw in a towel and say,
I'm not doing it
I'm
again.
not doing it again. They allow it in boxing. Why can't they allow it in football and tennis? But yes, they came out. They needed this win. They desperately needed this win. And even with um the Atletico Madrid dropping points over the weekend, they drew 1-1. Real Madrid completely won their match, clear the table by 4 points now. Even with Atletico Madrid dropping points, Barcelona are still behind. So Barcelona knew that they had to just, keep up some kind of scoreboard pressure, get back into rhythm. They're winning over the break. They came back from the break with a trophy. Went into Champions League, won, came back to La Liga and still lost. Are we cursed in the La Liga? So Hansi Flick desperately needed this winner. So when his team came out, flying out, I understand that Valencia is in a tough place right now when
Right.
it comes to form. So it's reasonable to expect that they would win against them. But Barcelona also dropped points against, was it Leganes they played before?
Getafe.
Getafe,
Getafe, yeah.
Getafe that they played before um they went to the Champions League. So it's been a tough season for them. So this win was desperately needed. 7-1 is a bit too much. As much as those goals seemed, it could have been 13. That's how many chances they created. That's how many times they opened Valencia off. They also gave away a few goals. One was ruled off as offside. The other one counted. So the match ended 7-1. But they could have pummeled Valencia even more. So yeah, it's good for them. They're back in winning ways. I can't say they are back in the title race because they're still far off. Okay, but they are back in winning ways. This one looks like Real Madrid is on it, and the fact that Mbappe has now come to himself.
He scored a hat trick
He has.
this weekend.
It's not. Again, it's not just the goals because he started scoring almost immediately. I mean, after the first 2 matches, he started scoring goals. It's the awareness. When you watch him, you can now see the Mbappe of old. It's the awareness to know where to be, how to turn defenders, positions to take up. That's what's making it impressive. His movement is back, his positioning is back, and then his finishing. Like his second goal, that was a typical Mbappe goal. From that angle, now. It's like he watched on me a little bit too much. And so when you watch it is not just the hat trick that he scored, it was the way he played.
His overall play.
His overall play. You're looking at him like, yeah, Mbappe is back. So Mbappe is back. Vini has not anyway. Barcelona is not catching up. Let's just leave it.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back in, we'll pick up on the stories and head into the English Premier League. We'll be talking about Man United. Amorim speaking after that very narrow draw against Fulham.
You see that scene, narrow draw.
Narrow victory.
Narrow victory.
I didn't say narrow victory.
Sorry. Narrow victory. A big victory. All is 3 points. They are not going to give you 4 points because you scored 7 goals. It's still 3 points. All you need sometimes is the 3 points. You don't need fantastic. Sometimes all you need is 3 points. Chelsea will collect that 3 points.
If Amaran can be frauding his way to 3 points like that,
It's okay. Oh. Let him fraud his way.
collect at least collect 3 points, move. Collect 3 points, move.
You're up to 12 now. Be humble. What's wrong with you? It's 12 not better than 14.
Hey nah. At least we're not Spurs.
Oh my goodness. We'll come back with some messages and then we'll go to the next match. We'll come back with some messages. Yeah. Let's read LK's message when he would have prayed. Now I said it's time for tithe and offering. He has not put tithe and offering. You now want to win. You are not even faithful in the house of the Lord. And your players are not faithful on the pitch.
Oh, Lord.
You are not half hope. You are not half hope.
How did 90s kids fail so woefully? I saw one video on Instagram talking about how many 90s born people won Grand Slam titles. I think he said only 3.
Okay, the next gen, yeah.
Yeah, next gen they've like
Dominic Thiem, Daniel Medvedev.
just to show how dominant
Yeah.
our 80s boys and our Djokovic and how dominant they were for such a long time. They don't even allow 90s boys to shine. Bias.
No, 90s boys don't want to shine.
Welcome back into the locker room on a Monday morning on Smooth 98.1, your love music, love life, and love sports station. Ayokunmi here. Tega also in with me live and direct in the studio talking about the sporting action making the rounds. Join us on the conversation this morning. Please send those messages to us on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981 0809 444 0981 0201 4489981 is the studio line. YouTube, you can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos.
Right.
Let's do a couple of YouTube messages. A couple of part of Ibrahim Hassan says, take a looking peng this Monday morning. Good morning, guys. I'm not looking peng, Gabi. Ibrahim. just hold it there first. Uche Nawoko says, United with a vital win, but the struggle continues.
True.
Isak is scoring goals for fun, but our strikers are struggling. Hoyland is doing WWE. I don't know what's wrong with that boy. I hope we build on this. And what happened to Maresca Ball? Sad. Praised some weeks ago. LK Aderoba says, help me beg Tega with God not to drag CFC too much because I know she has been doing press up to drag Chelsea more than I better fast my neighbor. Maresca with his coconut head will be the end of Chelsea. Okay, what's Padre says, hello at LK Aderoba. How are you doing? Hope you had a good weekend. I know you didn't. Your team has a lot of issues. Palmer, too casual. Jackson isn't even a footballer. And Sanchez should quit already.
There's a reason they call him Miss Jackson. This is a lot. All right. Let's talk about Lucas was talking about the 90s kids. We don't know. No.
You just give us context.
It's not all the 90s kids that fail. It's only the 90s kids in tennis. The 90s kids in football, they are trying. The 90s kids in MMA, they are trying. The 90s kids in the NBA, they are trying. It's the one in, not just the ones in tennis, the ones in the ATP. Don't join WTA to them. ATP people, they need help. They need help. The next gen, every generation took it from people. I remember when Roger Federer beat Pete Sampras, because Pete Sampras used to be the guy, and his tennis too was sweet. Then Roger Federer came and said, you think you've seen sweet tennis? Take. Then
this one gets spice.
This one, you understand? This one, the spice entered. They marinated the meat, soaked it. Then by the time they barbecued it, even the bone had the spice. Do you understand? It was, so he came and showed us. Every generation, before Roger even settled down, Federer was like, Roger, you're 5 years older than me, it's my turn. And in sports, 5 years is a decade. In real life, 10 years a decade. In sports, 5 years a decade. Just so you know, in case you want to calculate your age body. And so Nadal came and snatched from Federer. Djokovic was like, you guys want to leave me behind. He came and he put his own. The next generation kids, all them Dominic Thiem, Nick Kyrgios, who thinks he's a social media influencer, what's their name? Medvedev, Zverev, all those ones, all those children. So I don't want to say Olodo, but they showed no ambition. So that's it, because they don't give you opportunity. You take opportunity.
Right, you need to grab it.
You have to seize it. If you don't seize it, you won't get it. You think they don't want to win? You think it's easy to be collecting 2 point something million for just working for 2 weeks?
It's not beans at all, at all, at all. Okay, Ibrahim, he says, Ayo, don't let me start with you. You are lucky that Fulham let you off. That's why you have small chest this
In
morning.
fact, let's get to that story quickly.
In fact, okay. Now, Ruben Amorim welcomed a rare clean sheet in Manchester United's 1-0 win at Fulham on Sunday, but did not gloss over his side's need to improve despite a vital 3 points.
I understand what he means, that they need to improve. However, when you look at the Manchester United form from last season to this season, and you look at the Fulham form, some matches, taking 3 points is all it requires. It doesn't need to be pretty. You don't need to dominate. You don't completely need to beat everybody. Just find a way to get 3 points. And that's how you play the league. The league season doesn't determine that doesn't dictate that you must be the best team every single game.
Right.
There are some games you just have to find your way to get the result. So for Amorim, it's not Fulham that I'll be making this noise on. You know, that's Fulham's case. The case I would have been making noise about is Southampton's case. They won. But the fact that they had to toil to win against Southampton, who Southampton's already relegated, they know.
It's just like
I said, they have to complete the season so that they will collect the full money from the Premier League TV rights. That's what they are doing. Even if they won that game, that is the kind of game that you look at your team and say you need to improve. Against Fulham, whether it's based on the form or based on the position on the table, from you can't say, oh, they have to improve. That's not the kind of match you expected to dominate on a normal day. So this statement for me, for this match, I don't think it's appropriate, but I agree with him. Manchester United have to improve. We have seen them play against the Liverpools, the Arsenals, and they've delivered the result. They've shown that they can perform. The problem is they don't do that consistently. So yes, so they need to be able to play every match as a big match to get the results. However, against this Fulham, they did the job they needed to do. They contained Fulham when Fulham put them under pressure, and then when they had the opportunity, they scored a goal. You can say the goal was deflected, or you can say the shot looked over. Whatever your story wants to be, that the goalkeeper could have saved it. Whatever your story is, the point is a central defender took the ball from his position. This is not basketball. This is football where you play your position. He took his ball from his position, ran through the midfield, got in position to shoot. You don't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket.
True story.
He bought a ticket, he won the lottery. Manchester United have all 3 points. Take it quietly and go home.
On to the next one. On to the next one. All right, moving on to the next one here. Erling Haaland inspired a Manchester City fight back from 1-0 down to beat Chelsea 3-1 and move into the Premier League top 4 at the Blues' expense on Saturday.
Yes, and that's how quickly the tables can change. Because even think about it, Leicester City defeating Tottenham, we may get to that story eventually. Leicester City defeating Tottenham, and they're out of relegation battle. Leicester City that had been losing match after match, suddenly 3 points and they're out. And that's how tight the Premier League table is from behind Liverpool. Liverpool is the only one that has built real estate around them. everybody else is face me, I face you in the Premier League. That's how close they are. And so one win, despite all the struggles that Manchester City have endured this season, one win, they're back in the top 4. One loss, Chelsea is back in 6th position. So it's a mixed basket. You have to fight for every point. And this was one of the matches I expected Chelsea to come in and put on a good display, because Manchester City have been vulnerable, and like I said, especially in defense, transition defense, they don't know how to defend it. So you have players that are supposed to be runners, the Maduekes, the Palmers, even Miss Jackson runs at defenses. He doesn't necessarily need to score, but just set the cats among the pigeons, and let somebody else pounce on the opportunity to score.
Mm.
But none of that happened on the day. Instead, they allowed Manchester City defenders to be a little more comfortable. And Manchester City, even when they're losing, they dominate possession. They had the ball, they got the opportunities, they scored their goals. And they won the match at the end of the day by 3 goals to 1. A Manchester City side who've gone 2 goals up and still drop points, who've gone 3 goals up and still
Still
drop
drop
points
points.
in this season, is the team that Maresca ball allowed to get away. So yes, you have to, in this case, you have to look at the coach when it comes to his shape, but you also have to look at the players, because at the end of the day, the best laid plans was only successful by the people on ground to execute them.
Mm.
And on the day, there are too many big players were anonymous. Too many.
Goalkeeper inclusive.
Goalkeeper was, before we get goalkeeper was suspect, but too many players were anonymous. I don't understand for the life of me why Kopama didn't put people under pressure. He ghosted after the first goal. He was like, okay, I've done my bidding for my FPL fans. I don't care what happens to the rest
He
of
didn't
you.
even do anything for
He
FPL
didn't do
fans.
anything for FPL.
To be honest.
He's trading you. did you have him on
He's
your?
chucking me in the side. You have no
You should
idea.
have traded him. Should have traded
Yeah.
him.
All right, let's move into the Serie A, where Inter Milan kept up the pressure on Serie A leaders Napoli on Sunday with a convincing 4-0 win at Loli Lecce, which moved the defending champions 3 points from the top of the table.
Yeah. So it's still 3 points between Napoli and Inter Milan, with Inter Milan having that game in hand. But we only count points on the board. So at this point in time, if the Serie A ends, Scudetto is going to Napoli.
Simple.
But and Napoli did the harder job. They played the harder team over the weekend, and boy, they were still able to come out with the results. It was a tough match, but like I said, there are some matches when you look at the fixture, you say, okay, if I can just get away points, doesn't need to be impressive.
True.
Just get the points and then get it. So Napoli had gotten the points to put Inter Milan under pressure. Inter Milan came in, was Lecce. They did the needful. They went for training, scored 4 goals, came back with 3 points. They're still trying to just see how much they can mount pressure on Napoli to default at the top. But the game of the weekend in the Italian Serie A, AC Milan versus Parma. It shouldn't be the game of the weekend because of the names of both teams involved, but it was. Parma goes ahead, AC Milan scores a penalty to come back, then Parma goes ahead again, and it looks like Parma is going to win this one because AC Milan has scored a goal in the 88th minute and it was cancelled for offside, rightly or correctly given as offside. So it looked like Parma was going to run away with it, and then AC Milan struggled and got the goal uh, that they needed in the extra time. Chukwueze scores a fantastic goal. So it was the nail biting minutes in the last few minutes for Parma. I remember when the equalizer went in, the captain on the bench, he just put his hand in his head. I was like, guy, game has not finished. As if he knew what was coming. Chukwueze scores. And they go home with no points. But yeah, that was the game of the weekend in Italian Serie A. And on that note, let's quickly run through all your messages because I see a lot of greens. So let's start with WhatsApp. Yeah.
All right, Nathan Njoku says, Tega, do you describe Rogers?
Roger Federer.
Roger Federer. Roger said this is the same reason we say Messi is the GOAT and not he who must not be named. Despite all his goals and podcasts, Liverpool making my weekend smooth, but that goal we conceded pained me die. Also said, Amorim said he would rather put a 60-something-year-old goalkeeper on the bench than Rashford. I like his outspokenness. United players have become too comfortable and powerful and lazy.
Yep.
Okay. Tayo Tayo says summary of Chelsea's performance. He sends an image I can't describe.
Is the Sanchez goal where Sanchez came out and Haaland scored around him. That's the image he sends. That's just wickedness.
Everybody's beating Man City, but Chelsea said, let's do photo ops. Wishful thinking of Sanchez to stop this. If Maresca doesn't end it, he'll end Maresca. Traore is going to the gym in vain only for Licha to own him. That guy. Anyways, Boston says, Tega, which Premier League football team do you support?
I support Warrior Wolves.
Okay. ABC Olua from Isola says, a great one for Mbappe and Real Madrid. We are running away with the league.
Yep, so far.
Be humble. Obabumi on Olapo says, yes, that made the win very satisfying. Almost 30. She has been around for a while. She played against Serena. Lesson learned. Don't ever give up on your dreams. Zverev, opportunity not taken. Yes, the referee wasn't professional. He may have something against Arsenal. The whole Michael Oliver thing going on.
Michael Oliver doesn't have anything against Arsenal. Michael Oliver is just like that.
Pius from Iweda says, Tega, will Mamouche continue Champions League with Man City?
I should check that rule.
Whether he's cup tied.
Yeah, whether he's cup tied.
Further says, Tega, are you sure Amram is doing the right thing for not playing Rashford? This is how Ten Hag started with Ronaldo, and the end result was not good.
He's doing well without Rashford too.
So far.
Maker
says the only difference between Michael Oliver and David Coots is a scandalous leak tape.
I'm telling you.
To prevent further fan outrage, I think he should be withdrawn from further officiating Arsenal games. There's a total mistrust between the fans and him. Okay, let me see any more on YouTube. Okay, Adi Femi Mafe says, so we're back to Yabbing Jackson. Is it not the same guy people lynched for calling him out? At this point, I don't care how Man United wins, even if it's juju football, shall win.
That's what I'm saying. Just get your 3 points. Next season, you can now start looking for tiki-taka football. All right, on that note, I want to thank you for streaming live on YouTube and sending your messages. I want to thank you for sending your messages via WhatsApp. I want to thank you for tuning into Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to myself and Ayo. On that note, there's midweek. Let's continue the prayer point. There's midweek matches.
Champions League football.
And
Europe. Okay.
It doesn't concern you. Don't worry. This one doesn't. We're talking the elite. It doesn't concern you. So for the rest of the
junior boys football is on Thursday.
We only talk elite here. For the rest of the elite people, just pray that your team is not fodder for banter. On that note, I leave your studio for you.
Don't worry, Tega. On Wednesday, I'll ensure your mic is not on. You shall see. Thank you all for sending me your thoughts on the show this morning. Absolute pleasure always. Keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1. The Smooth Breakfast will continue.